It's been a while since we've gamed, and there have been a lot of life events coming up. I'd like to try and jump in with a little bit of quickness, but we do need to do intros if you haven't seen us before, what we're doing here, and kind of get a feel for everyone. But we'll want to keep it quick, want to keep it snappy. I'm Soul, I'm running the game. You can find me wherever Souls rolls. We're running Urban Shadows. This is a modern supernatural game. It's going to be a lot more narrative forward and a lot more kind of story driven than a lot of TTRPGs that you may be used to. So if you are not familiar, just kind of bear with us. We're going to be riffing off each other a lot more than you might see in D&D. Passing it back around, let's go ahead and hit up Dylan. You're going to be right underneath me, so go for it.
You would say that, wouldn't you? Hello everyone, I'm Dylan H. Ford. I'm playing Gregory Hawthorne, the vamp of this group. You can find me everywhere on the internet as Dylan H. Ford, and yeah, I'll pass it off to John.
Hi, I'm John, using they and any pronouns. I'll be playing Tala Abasa, the hunter of this group. And you can find me at BurnJohnJohnBurn on Twitter and Instagram if you're nasty. And I'll pass it to Elise.
I'm Elise. I'll be playing Octavia, or Tav, the tainted of the group, the demon character. And you can't find me anywhere except on Discord because I don't do social media. I'm just here to have fun with my friends. And last but not least,
hello, I'm Red. I'm one of the three primary colors. I am playing Angus, or what you guys came up with a lot of horrible nicknames for Angus. But Angus is the wizard of the group, doing all sorts of weird wizardy stuff, being goofy and strange.
All right.
And high all the time. I'm also you guys' dealer.
In the game, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when we last left off, there were a couple of mysteries that were hanging into the air. We were doing a bunch of investigation. People had some weird shit happen to them. I want everyone to throw to me a little bit of idea of what the last pivotal moment was for them, their character, and the story. And we're going to pick up from there pretty soon after I get a synthesis of the vibes that we all had. Now, kind of laying the groundwork, some weird shit was going on in Nocturne. People were disappearing. Amongst them was a mutual friend, Brandon, who was a information broker and kind of fixer for the group. Cars were found with equipment that shouldn't be there. Paladins of the mage order were missing and or possibly deceased. So things were tracked down, cameras were traced, and you decided to go confront Brandon in his domicile, his demence, if you will. And that's where shit got real fucking bad. So I'll kick it back over. We'll do it reverse order. Red, what you got?
Angus was actually separate from the rest of the group because the rest of the group was just like full frontal, just like bursting into Brandon's apartment. Meanwhile, I was teleporting into the garage. So Angus was going into the garage investigating and trying to find out what was happening, had a bit of a conundrum with his magic, pulled out some cool inky black tendrils, threw them away. They dissipated like rats to a torch. And then I went over to investigate a vehicle which had like a blood splatter on the wall. I fucking hate you guys. And I found in the vehicle Zach, a former contact of mine and some other people's as well, and was left with more questions than answers.
All right. Great place to bounce over to Elise. What do you got for Tav?
I remember that in the session before last session, we discovered there had been a vehicle in Tav's garage that belonged to one of the people we were looking for, Zach, and we were able to trace him to Brandon's place, and we did a good old classic B&E to get in, and found a lot more than we bargained for, because there was a monster So this is what I'm about to say is from Tad's perspective. It hasn't been confirmed out of character. It seems to be that there was a demon possessing Brandon's body, and one thing in particular is that they were able to supernaturally dead name Cabria, because apparently they had knowledge of who she was and her patron. So we did not get an identification on this demon or creature, quote unquote, but we got pretty fucked up fighting this thing. And I'll pass it to John.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, correct me, it was Brandon whose face like split down the center into some sort of like Stranger Things kind of demon demogorgon. And
Yep, correct.
yeah, and then after we murdered that bigly, we went. I went to the garage, and the corpse that McWangus had been snuggling had a knife wound in it, and had been stabbed through the back, was what we determined, as opposed to from the front. And this was my contact, who I knew as the Mage Order Paladin Zach. I gave him a very generic name because I didn't suspect he would survive. Fully on me. And then, but the knife he had had a bunch of like crazy runes on it, apparently, that Angus did not want to touch or be touched by. So I have that, and I'll pass it to Gregory.
Yeah, so when we went to the house, I drove ahead because reasons. And after arriving, I was shot at, prompting me to break into the apartment and beat the shit out of whoever was shooting me, almost getting stabbed by the aforementioned knife. And Gregory's a vampire. He does not want to get stabbed by that kind of stuff, because he can get shot point blank with a rifle and he'll be fine, but whatever is there is not good. So he survived, and he drove off into the night listening to heavy metal, as he does. With
Right.
Brandon,
Cool guy zone, watch out.
with Brandon, nowhere to be found.
All right.
We killed Brandon, quote unquote.
Well, didn't Angus see Brandon in a mirror? Like, we don't know that, but out of character, I feel like we know that, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Angus saw him in the mirror and he's just like, how did you get to this place? You're not supposed to be there. That's where wayward souls
Get
end
down
up.
from there. That's not where Brandon belongs. Like a cat in a cabinet. Get.
There you shut it.
All right. So what do you want to do? We're going to actually take it right from there. You are driving away, listening to heavy metal as you do. Shit's gone sideways. What are you going to do, Gregory?
Gregory needs to eat. And that's a problem, because his blood bag is missing.
Okay.
Gregory's hungry. It's okay.
So tell me how you're going
Just
Tell me how you're going to fix that.
Gregory does not want to stalk off into the night and find some hapless bystander to feed on, because that's not what Gregory's about. Unfortunately, Gregory's blood bag is missing. I think the only person that I can go to at this time is probably Phil.
All right. Tell me a little bit about Phil.
Well, Phil, for those of the viewers who do not remember this, Phil is a member of the Fae Court and has been in the city of Nocturne almost as long as I have. They stay out of politics most of the time, but they also don't want to like fuck around with anything else, or it's bad to fuck with them. And Phil also, as a point of reference, is gender fluid in the extreme, in the sense that their appearance slightly shifts every single time you look at them, and that is on purpose on their behalf. And we have a history of being friends, enemies, frenemies, so on and so forth.
So how do you track down Phil?
I remember meeting them last in a marketplace, so I probably will go there.
So that would be Arthur's Green.
Arthur's Green.
Yep. It is still pretty late unless you lay low for a while. Are you doing that immediately or are you taking some time off?
I'm taking some time off.
All right, so when are you going to track them down? Next day or next night?
Tomorrow morning, because it's still late right now.
Okay. So Gregory, for the audience, though a vampire, lives in Nocturne, and Nocturne is a little bit kinder about the vulnerabilities of the supernatural, but it also means that they tend to be a little bit less powerful and potent than you might be expecting. So while Gregory can creep around during the day, Gregory's not going to be as much of a force to be reckoned with at that time, but we'll catch up with that. The rest of the party, Gregory blasts off into the night with metal music blaring. Seems to be a little bit of a mood. Everyone else, some of you have had some interesting things happen to you involving being planted with a fruit or a seed, per se. What are you all doing?
Hey. Oh, that's right. Angus is pregnant.
No! That is not the narrative. At least not from what I recollect.
No and or no but no no's. No.
And no,
The fruit of evil, the seed of darkness that's been planted in some of you. Some of you have that on your character sheets.
Tonight's gender.
Tonight's gender.
Are you being metaphorical?
No.
No, that was the mechanic from the monster.
Oh, yeah, so that wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
Hell
I
yeah.
don't remember who it was.
Wizard Dubs.
The few wizard dubs.
I'm trying to think. I think Angus needs to seek out something dark and powerful to sort of figure out how or why Brandon's in the mirror, and then maybe attempt to get him back if it is of benefit.
Okay. So you're going to seek out something dark and powerful to try and get some answers. So you just like storm off and do that, or do you let anyone know what's going on? Like, what's the plan?
Somebody's sharing a vehicle with me. I'm driving my shitty old fucking like beat up rusty bucket muscle car. I remember somebody sharing a vehicle with me, and I don't remember
I
who.
believe it was Tala.
It was the Subaru.
Oh,
I have that as my notes for some reason.
I hate it. I'm not driving a Subaru. I'm driving a.
No, my notes include the little spiel I have on Phil, as well as gentrified trash food, worse face than Steve, two genders, Rolls Royce or 97 Toyota Corolla, Bohomo, Bohemian Homo. This blowjob kills fascists, and Subaru.
I need
And
to
beneath-
go back and check the project notes to make sure that you didn't just put shit like this down.
This isn't my character sheet. And beneath all of that, bearer of the fruit of evil. So I guess I'm also pregnant.
we're real proud of you.
It's gonna turn into a fan fiction really quick.
You've come so far, or at least the other person did.
Wow. Oh, okay. Rated R.
The sheer girth of this fruit.
I don't know how we continue from there.
I don't either, especially without Tala.
Someone clip that.
Ryan?
Uh-oh, did John Locke get DC?
Yeah, I
we
think
lost
so.
a John somewhere in there.
They set their camera ratio down to nothing.
As
It
you
caused the universe to like fold it on itself, and they cease to exist temporarily. They'll be back once their internet connection is up.
do. Yeah,
Have
it'll
you
be
ever
all right.
seen the movie, what's it fucking called?
Event Horizon.
Yes, okay, I'm glad we were on the same page there.
That's a dark place to go all of a fucking sudden. Okay. Jesus fucking Christ.
Hello? We just got impregnated by the fucking demon version of the Little Shop of Horrors. I think that's okay. Some of you do.
I've been watching a lot of clips of The Cell for like inspiration for some of my stuff, and I don't know if that tells anyone like where my headspace is at.
Never seen the cell. Don't know anything about it. So I'm gonna say that's probably a bad thing.
That's probably a bad thing.
So I will continue with. I'll probably just let Tala off somewhere or turn her over to somebody else with a vehicle. Was Tav driving her bike?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just say, I'm gonna go off and do wizard stuff.
Wizard stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let you and Tala figure it out. I need to drive off into the woods somewhere where I know dark beings dwell.
Okay. So you're going to go talk to dark beings. Great.
Indeed.
What is Tala going... Sorry, not Tala. Tav. What is Tav going to be doing? What's Tala going to be doing? Somebody tell me. No. What's Tav going to be doing?
Tav wants to identify what the fuck that creature was. So I think that she would be likely to go try to hit up a contact over in the places that she normally frequents, where a lot of people from the Wild faction like to come and go.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of like a speakeasy or a fight club or place where a lot of people who run in the same circles as her can be found.
Okay. So maybe like a motorcycle bar?
Yeah.
Sick. All right. So that's where you're going off to. What about you, Tala?
So this is the next day we establish, yeah?
It's the plans for the next day or this night. It really is up to you.
I think Tala's going to go to a bar and drink and try not to think about the events of the day. And then the next day is probably going to go to her job and just try to work the farmer's market to see if anything else weird happens, with
Okay.
the assumption that probably one of these other three will have better information because they're maybe a little better connected.
All right.
You
So
want
do
to
you
come to
run
the Demon Biker Bar with me?
the Demon Biker Bar?
Hell yeah, let's go get drunk.
Salty spittoon. How tough are
Bum
you?
bum bum bum.
So when we're running the market at Arthur's Green, there are two distinct markets that happen. There is the farmer's market, which happens during the day, which is pretty much a normal, mortal farmer's market. And then there's the night market at Arthur's Green, which is distinctly aimed at all of the weirdos that are part of Nocturne, the supernaturals there. So there's less stalls, but the stalls tend to be more interesting. Which one do you frequent most? Because from everything I've seen so far, you're more of the daytime crew, and you're actually like selling fruits and produce and like wicker jock straps and stuff.
Yeah, I'm more of the daytime crew, wicker
Microwave
jock straps and
wall
all.
hanging.
I think. I think the nighttime stall, I'm always looking at weapons. It's my whole gender, and so I'm like, yeah, what's coming to town, what's going out of town? Because if I'm not looking for something for my own collection, I think that does give me just a little bit of data about what was not there anymore, what's been purchased.
Kind of getting a pulse of the city from that. So you're not running a stall during the night market. You're a consumer.
Yeah, but
Sick.
like more of a window shopper, really. I think.
Okay. So timing-wise, it sounds like the Dark Heart of the Night with Angus McDanglis. It's going to be the centerpiece here. So you dash off into the dark to try and dredge up demons to like give you an answer about what happened with Brandon and all the shit here.
Mm-hmm.
Can
Yep.
I suggest a location to you?
Please do.
And we're talking to Angus McDangus here.
You may suggest a location to the McDangus clan.
The Dangler.
if you will.
The dangliest.
The dangliest.
Uh-huh.
You might want to go to the Hartsmith Dam.
Hartsmith Dam.
Mhm.
I'm
That's
imagining
Hart, H-A-R-T-Smith Dam.
Hartsmith Dam. Have I had any actually I guess I shouldn't answer that. I guess I should sort of just be like yes and. Hartsmith Dam is where I shared my first kiss with a supernatural being.
Okay. So you were out there Frenching with a Selkie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said damn.
All right. So the Hartsmith Dam is the major source of electricity for Nocturne. It is a hydroelectric dam. It also drowned 2 of the older townships that were around Nocturne. If anyone has ever been around hydroelectric dams or understand how these sorts of things go, there is a lot of freight on this, and I would like to just give a nod to that yeah, this is maybe like a heavy subject. Typically, these townships that were literally inundated typically were impoverished, indigenous, and or immigrant, or depending on your time frame and location, African American. They would
That happened
literally
with
just.
the Hoover Dam.
Yep,
in Nevada.
it happened with most of the dams. Like if you find a dam, you're going to find a drowned township of people that aren't white. Because yeah, fuck America. But no,
Yep.
Nocturne has its own history of that, and I put that in there. So yeah, the Hartsmith Dam is sitting on that, and it is a known issue. It is something that even the supernatural beings that live in Nocturne view with a little bit of trepidation, because there is something about that lake that formed that doesn't want you to leave. If you show up there at the wrong time and you catch something's attention, you will be stuck. And it will drown you. That's not necessarily a literal physical drowning, that could be a metaphorical drowning. So this is a place to consort with dangerous powers.
Wonderful.
I believe I've even got a city move for that.
Oh, the city moves.
You might actually
love-
get hit with 2 of them. Sorry, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say we love when Soul has a move, when we give Soul too much power.
You know, I'm all about those night moves.
Trying to. Never mind. I don't even like Bob Sager.
At least you were there.
I was there.
All right, so we've got 2 different ones here that I could trigger. I could trigger Echoes of the Drowned Town. When you find yourself alone at Hartsmith Dam, especially near the submerged remnants of the old town, roll with Spirit. Or, where is it here? Let me find the other one. When a seer or wizard taps into the latent magic in a place of ancient power within the city, roll with Power. So I'm going to let you kind of tell me what you're doing, then I'm going to choose which of these. Well, I'm going to pitch to the group which of these might make sense more.
So, Angus isn't just like wandering there aimlessly. He's sort of wandering there with the intent to try to tap in and communicate with something here. So he's almost making like a group call, hoping that somebody picks up.
Okay. So to me, this is not just when you find yourself alone. This is more channeling a place of power. What do we think as a group? Do you think that fits more?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I would say so.
Agreed.
All right. Dylan, what do you think?
I agree. I think it works as a place of power.
Okay. Ancient Echoes. We're going to go ahead and roll with that one. So roll with Power for me there, Angus McDangus.
Straight up power.
Yep.
Is this This is investigative place of power.
Basically, it is, yeah.
Okay. 10.
Okay. So what are you trying to do here? Putting out a call to try and figure out some answers. What knowledge exactly do you seek?
So I'm calling out to perhaps a more experienced and ancient magical force. So preferably summoning some sort of wizard. If not, I will settle for some sort of entity that understands what the other dimension is and what lay beyond the mirror.
To what end?
I'm seeking information and beseeching a powerful entity in exchange for offering a deal.
To what end? Like, what is the result that you want? Like, imagining that you get the deal that you want, what will you walk away with?
So right now, Angus doesn't actually know how to get to that dimension. Knowing how to get there, I think this is sort of like he's always sort of been curious. He's always sort of wanted to. And now that a mutual friend is trapped there, I think this is the time he's like, okay, this seems like a horrible idea, but to help somebody who's a friend of mine, mostly because I need him around because he's my fixer, I think now's the time to sort of beseech the powers and figure out how to get there.
So, thinking about this from your character's perspective, I'm going to throw some words out there. I'm not trying to put words in your character's mouth, but this is how it feels to me. You seeing Brandon as lost and discarded, drowned in the mirror and forsaken by all, his body stolen and dark deeds done by some simulacrum. You decide to reach out to the closest mirror that Nocturne has that reflects this sort of forsaken power, the discarding of humanity for like literal mortal power. A whole town was drowned to fuel this city, and their names forgotten and lost for all times, and they haunt the shores of this lake. So you decide to go talk to them to find maybe some commonality. Help me find Brandon, who is experiencing something like you've experienced, discarded and lost and drowned. Would that vibe?
Yes, absolutely. Forgive my sneezing.
No.
Allergy.
So I'm going to put it back to you real quick, real short, but I'm also going to give you something that every theater nerd loves. Give me a short monologue. Invoke that power.
Yeah, impromptu monologues. I've always been really good at those. So
it doesn't have to be long.
So as he steps up the stairs that lead to like the precipice that overlooks the what would be the river flowing into the dam that would utterly lower several stories, he sort of gestures out to the greater part of the city, and he starts speaking in old Galaga, and he starts pretty much, he knows that it's a bad idea to be shaky. He knows it's a bad idea to sort of be shy and capped and be like, hey, maybe could you help me? No, you need to make demands with these forces. You need to be firm. You need to be logical. You need to be direct. That's exactly what he's doing. He's saying, in exchange for you helping me, I will help you no matter what the task may be. But I require your assistance, your power. And he's sort of just holding his arms out. And after a while, his words turn into just like listless nothings, and he's just moving his mouth because he knows the powers that be can understand him even if he doesn't speak.
So at the end, they're speaking literally from the heart and the spirit. All right, you rolled a 10 plus.
Yes.
You successfully channel the ancient energies that embrace the lake that powers all of Nocturne. You can gain a significant insight or magical advantage related to your current pursuits. So I'm going to give you something relating to that gateway where Brandon may lie beyond. But also, you get to choose one from a list of 2. You may either sense a hidden threat or secret related to the location. Now, this can either be the lake, or it can be the mirror universe, Or you may bolster your own magic reserves, gaining an extra use of a relevant magical ability or spell, which I would say would be a hold 1 that is just always available for the rest of this arc until you spend it. It means you wouldn't have to channel it. You're always counted as holding 1, which for you is maybe really attractive, but knowledge is also power.
Knowledge
one do
is
you
far
want?
more powerful. At least that's how me like have good mechanic always on
Mhm.
hand. You know, I always like having something cooking. You all know how I play
Let him
Magic.
cook.
Oh yeah. But what Angus would do, Angus sees this knowledge of like knowing what he is going to be facing, like what threats, that allows him to better prepare rather than having something prepared all the time. So, would you consider this striking a deal with someone dark and powerful?
Yes.
I'm gonna take a corruption.
Okay.
My
You're
wizard
speed running this
corruption
one. You're speed running this one.
Yeah, Angus is a very reckless person. He's highly logical, but he sees his body as nothing more than like something to be used. It's a resource.
But this is your soul you're bargaining away.
Same
Anyway.
difference.
Okay. Anyways, sense a hidden threat or bolster your magical reserves. Which one do you want?
Let's sense a hidden threat.
Where? Here at the lake or here in the mirror?
In the mirror.
In the mirror. Oh, okay. That's an
Fuck the
interesting
lake. I'll fight whatever comes to me.
one. Fuck this lake.
I can
In the
swim.
mirror. In the mirror. So as you chant these meaningful nothings into the night air, as you feel the waves of this lake kind of lap around you, you drift into this sort of half sentient, half awake, half asleep world where the reflections of everything around you catch your eye, but you can't focus on any of them at any given time. The world itself starts to blur, and you see within the mirror that this place that Brandon is not a place, it is a non-place. It's the absence of a place to be. Someone or something has removed Brandon's ties from the world, so what he is exists in a place that is outside of it. This reflects the betrayal, the replacement, the changing of names, the violation of trust, the theft, all of this. Whatever is doing this isn't Brandon, and it wasn't Brandon to begin with. Maybe some influence started this path, but as it was, these choices that were forced on Brandon eroded a very sense of self crucial to his being. So now he exists in a place where he doesn't have any ties to the world. Those are all being burned or have been burned. You, being one of his people that he's connected to, do have that connection through the mirror, sort of a touchstone into places that do not exist. And that's why you were drawn to it to reach out to him. It's one of the few ties that exists. So that is a little bit of your significant insight into the mirror realm. It is a place where there are no connections, except through you. And maybe other people like you or other devices like the mirror. It's a place of banishment. There's a hidden threat related to the mirror realm, and that is, it's not meant for Brandon. It's not meant for you. It was meant to hold something far worse. Something that cannot have connections with this world, lest disaster strike.
And Brandon and I being there, specifically Brandon being there, serves as a potential conduit or key to unleash that thing.
Yep. That's why you're never supposed to touch it, never supposed to look into it, never supposed to identify with it. The more you do that, the more you create that connection, and the more of whatever that is can link into where you are and become So, Gregory, you're
That's
cruising
me.
around. Yeah, you're cruising around and you're looking for Phil. When are you going to run into them?
Probably around like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And Tav, when are you going to this biker bar?
I'm thinking immediately after our encounter
Okay.
with
And who goes with you?
Me.
Yeah, Tala wanted to come. Come on, Betsy, let's go.
Okay. So you end up at a place called Lev's. Lev's is a biker bar. It is ran by another Tainted. They are an enforcer of sorts. They generally are called on to intermediate between other Tainted. So their patron basically is the go-between for other Tainted. This is like the guy that you call to deal with a problem between two mafia bosses. That would be the demon lord that runs Lev's shit. Lev's a hard motherfucker. He looks like Lemmy from Motorhead, but if Lemmy did steroids for like 20 years. Or if you're a comics person, it's Lobo.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Well, that was good.
That reference.
Does a little bit better for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Am I the only
Lev-
person who got Lemmy better than Lobo?
I throw both references. I throw them both ways. Yeah, we're
I got-
bisexual.
Look, you're a multitasker like me. I get it, but also like I don't read lots of comics.
I got both.
I was there in the like the 90s and like all the Dark Horse and like all the indie press stuff when it popped up. So yeah, I'm real deep in that shit.
Nice.
Anyways, so Lev's is a good place for people to go that have some deeper shit going on, and they also know that it's a place where you play nice. And if you don't play nice, bad shit happens to you. Because not only are you just fucking up in general, and there's a lot of fucking people here that will come down on you, but the guy that runs the place is a dedicated kneecapper for demons, on demons. So it's like, oh, okay, we play nice here, or we're gonna get our shit absolutely fucked up. Lev also has some connections with mortality. He has played that side a little bit, notably to a point where he faced down an entire werewolf pack on behalf of a hunter, because the hunter was the guy making him weapons to deal with demons. And he said, if you ever have a problem, you call me. I had a problem with the pack, so he showed up, and it did not go well for Lev. Lev got killed multiple times. Cool thing about Tainted, if you die, your patron will bring you back, but you owe them. So you can go in deep debt into your patron just by getting killed over and over again. Lev died like 5 times before the werewolves decided, this is bullshit. We're not going to waste the rest of our fucking like week doing this. So yeah, we'll just like whatever the fuck, man. We'll leave the hunter alone. But that's the type of person that Lev is, and you are now at his bar. So you're enjoying a couple of pints, maybe something a little bit stronger. I don't know. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing, what this looks like to you. What do you envision this bar looking like? Because you tell me and it's true.
I'm kind of picturing it as maybe like somewhere between the Sons of Anarchy bar and somewhere on the Vegas Strip. So neon lights, a grungy place to be. You can find a little bit of everything from the Wild faction, mostly demonic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate that my first thought was Merlots from True Blood.
It's not that nice.
Yeah,
I imagine it is not that nice.
Too nice. And I was like, oh yeah, werewolves. But this is probably like... It feels like Omega from Mass Effect, but not as like futuristic. But that neon feel, that kind of like grungy music that people are probably like grinding to in very sexual ways, you know, of like...
Yeah, I imagine that they still have black lights and there's some back rooms where people make deals and
I feel like neon grunge is a great name for like a micro genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know, and
actually really like that idea. Like the more you talk about this, the more I'm like, yeah, this is exactly it.
yeah, it's like if like a club at Invader Zim were like aesthetically a little more fleet, you know what I mean?
Oh God. Okay.
Invaders.
We're full on like Johnny the homicidal maniac with awkward levels.
Yeah,
God.
except like sexy.
Yeah, wait, was that not sexy?
It was sexy. Shush. Shush.
Okay, cool. I'm like, am I wrong? No, this is the kids. All right, so neon grunge is a great way to explain it. There's big bright signs. There's a bunch of like electronic poker and stuff like that all over the place. Obviously, there's got to be electronic poker.
Yeah, there's got like some slot machines and pool tables and.
For those of you who aren't deep in the lore of Lemmy from Motorhead, he was big on electronic poker. Like it was his main vice. And we're also going to say like there's a bunch of outside seating, like a bunch of picnic tables out front with everyone's motorcycles right where everyone can see them, all that jazz. So you roll up. What are you doing? You grabbing drinks, trying to get some shit done, trying to unwind. What's the vibe?
I'm gonna get a Coors Light.
All right,
I'm gonna get shot.
that's fine. They don't give a fuck.
I think I'll have a Miller High Life.
That's fine. So you haven't trespassed on like the range where you do get the shit beaten out of you. Like you roll up this place, be like, girl, let me get a White Claw and a vodka Red Bull, and it's like,
and a
And
St.
then-
Pauli girl.
and you're
Oh.
done.
A
You're
glass
just
pink
fucking
rosé.
Can I get a San Pellegrino?
no.
Get shot.
It's not that bad because I mean, shooting you would be bad business, but it is a place where you obviously know the vibe. So you're getting a couple of like domestics, maybe a couple shots of whiskey.
First things first, Tab is gonna change because she got absolutely soaked in monster blood.
Nobody bats an eye.
Yeah. Well, it's for her own
Mhm.
personal preference. She doesn't want to smell like fertilizer for the rest of the evening, or whatever this thing smells like.
Probably
So-
fertilizer. You're right.
And yeah, she definitely needs a drink after that thing just kind of exploding.
Right. So you grab some drinks. People are cautiously curious. They're looking at you because you are covered in blood, and they're like, okay, what's going on? But they're not so curious that they're going to ask because that's just bad form, I guess.
Yeah, I think if someone's eyes linger too long on Tala will just like brush like one of the flowy bits of her clothes aside to reveal the gun.
The gun.
The gun.
What?
The big
Which
gun.
one is it? Which one is it?
This is the gun that does 5 harm.
Oh my god.
We're not
In
in
a game
Mos
where I
Eisley.
think-
Put that shit away.
I think 4 harm is lethal, so
4 harm is you are dying. 5 harm is you have died.
yeah, this is the
You have died.
Have
This is
died. As
This is-
tense.
this is the twink obliterator is what this gun is.
It actually is. All right. So what are you doing at the bar? What's the objective here? Are you trying to blow off steam? You trying to make connections? Where am I guiding this scene for you?
For the moment, Tab's gonna take like 5 minutes with a bottle of whiskey and a shot glass and just take a few shots to get the sight and smell of that thing out of her mind.
Okay. So you roll up, you get a couple of beers, you ask for a bottle and a shot glass and a clean rag. And we're gonna say the bartender that is taking care of you is a lady named Danica. Danica used to be a pro wrestling, but not quite WWE level athlete, and also an MMA fighter. So did MMA one weekend and then did WWE type stuff the next weekend.
Fuck it.
Absolute house of a woman. Probably 5'6", 5'7", 180 pounds, and is just the next best thing to feral that you can find that is actually upright and has speech.
I'm making eyes.
Okay. Okay. Do you and her have a thing? Do you want to put a name to a face or a face to a name?
Yeah, we have a thing.
Okay. Roll it. So that would be if we're going into our books, or it's probably on the character sheet there. Name to a face, face to a name.
I love how John John's
Yeah,
immediately like, we dating.
We dating. You a house? I'm moving in. What
Nice.
is
She's a
I'm
brick.
having a difficult time rolling from my
Ouch.
phone.
Okay.
When I open
So if
it
you
up
need
on,
some-
let me just roll 2d20. What's the stat that goes with it?
2d20? That's
Or
optimistic.
2d10. 2d6. 2d6. How do I play games? 2d6.
Yeah, let me find it for you. It's going to be put a face to a name. It's 2d6 plus their faction, and they are. Oh, actually, I'm going to pitch this one a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Gregory, you know Danica. You know Danica tangentially. What faction is she? Wild, power, mortal, knight.
Knight.
All right, she's knight.
All right. Let me try and
Roll
roll
with
this.
knight.
Trying to roll with knight. Oh, there. Put a face to the name. There we go. Click. Click. Did it go?
There it goes.
Folks.
Woo! I see a 12.
I'll
Damn.
take that.
All right. So with put a face to a name, we're going with Knight. She's one of the wolves. She is a werewolf.
Werewolf mama!
Now, keep in mind, Lev has had somewhat of a contentious issue with wolves. So she's probably either a lone wolf or just a baddie that don't give a fuck. Either way it goes. Let me find my moves again. There's my faction moves. Face to a name with a 12. Okay. That means you've dealt with them before. You can either learn something useful about them or they owe you a debt. Which is your choice?
I think I would like to learn something useful about them.
Okay. What do you know about them?
Let's see. I know that they're a pretty stringent professional when it comes to bartending, so they don't drink on the job because if she do drink on the job, then she gets a little loose-lipped.
Okay.
Or if she has a drink.
Okay. So we're going to play off that a little bit. Danica is here because she has said something in the past which has gotten her in trouble. And another faction would really like to catch her slipping again. What faction is that?
So Dylan said she's with Knight, so I bet it's whichever one the Fae is. That Power.
That's power.
Yes, Power
Demons
wants.
are all for power.
Yeah,
Yep.
Power wants to catch her slipping.
Sorry, that's wild. Wild is fae and demons.
Oh, shit.
Wild,
Power is
Wild
wizards.
wants to catch
Yeah.
her.
Stupid, stinky
Okay.
wizard.
Wizards always want to catch everyone slipping, so it's going to be Power. It's going to be Wild.
Okay. So she's kind of on her last little bit of like tolerance. She's here. She doesn't drink on the job. She knows more than she maybe lets on, and she's an absolute house. Awesome. You and Danica, Tala, have a history. What do you want to define that as? Like, we know that you know these things, but how do you know them?
Because I think the two of us got drunk, went behind a 7-Eleven, and just wailed on each other for fun.
Okay.
7-Eleven.
So which one of you is Tyler and which one of you is narrator?
I think it depended on each swing, because neither of us were beating ourselves up. I think we were
Okay.
really just like, that was like, we were like, we're not going to have sex. We're going to do the next best thing and just punch the daylights out of each other for fun.
Okay.
We needed it.
So we've already established that Danica is a person who does not have a really good grasp on what should and shouldn't be said. After you went toe-to-toe with an MMA WWE goddess of a werewolf, and you didn't die the next day, what rumors went around in the hunter community and the like supernatural community about you? Like,
Rumors.
You went to it like that.
Yeah,
with,
I was thinking
with a werewolf.
yeah, I think it's like the you know in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon when it's like I'm Iron Fist Gao and then it's
Mhm.
got like metal braces underneath. So I think there was lots of stuff that it's like, you know, people were like, oh, Tala probably has like a adamantium prosthetic or like has like a paper thin gauntlet under there, like wearing armor actually. Or something, you know, and it's like I think that's one rumor. It's like Tala cheats and fights dirty.
Tala cheats and
then
fights dirty.
the other one was maybe don't fuck with her.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
it might bite you.
All right. I like it. So Tav, you're here. You're getting drinks. This place is ran by another tainted. Do you want to do a name to a face to a name for anyone here? Do you want to like stake a claim, or do you just want to say this is your first time here?
No, I think Tab comes here pretty regularly. The thing is that she doesn't really run with any of the gangs.
Okay.
Because she's only been here for a year or two. But
Okay.
I imagine that she has some people that she's acquainted with.
All right. We'll get to that when it comes up, if it comes up. So you're drinking, you're trying to blow off some steam, you're trying to get your head around everything that happened. Where does 4 a.m. find you?
I imagine that there's somebody that she knows that frequents this place that she
Okay.
has either had to collect a debt from or vice versa, or had to work with. Just they probably have like a messy history, professionally speaking.
Okay. What do you want to get out of them? Like, why are you bringing them up?
Because I want to know if they would know what that creature was. Because she believes that this person would be more likely to give her a straight answer,
Okay.
even if it costs
So-
something.
Yeah, so that sounds like you're hitting the streets. You're going to go to a place, you can try and find someone who knows what you need. So roll with faction and tell me their name. Doesn't have to be deep, doesn't have to be intense. Give me something to go with.
I'm gonna say his name is Dimitri.
Dimitri. All right.
Mhm.
Dimitri. I like it.
Oh shit!
What'd you get?
A 6.
All right, that's not the worst thing. So a 6 on a hit the streets. That is a miss. That means we've got some stuff here. Let me look at it real quick. Ooh, I like it. I like it. So Dimitri's brother comes in. Dimitri's brother is also named Dimitri. Their father was not an imaginative man. They're not
Very
twins. They're about three. They're about 3 years apart. This is Dimitri the younger, and he sees you and he beelines to you and he says, "Tav, you got to help me. I got a problem."
Oh god, what do you want, Jacob?
Demi. Demi's missing.
The big one?
And Dimitri looks at you, and there is something harrowing in this man's eyes. He goes by Mitri, predominantly. Demi is the elder, Mitri is him. And if you stick around long enough, you're probably going to get about 6 more names, because Russians be like that. But he says, "You remember my brother, right? I have a brother."
Yeah.
And he seems to get mad, like really fucking pissed about this.
Yeah, of course I remember your brother. He shot me. one time. Asshole. What about him? Like, what happened? Why is he missing? Did he go missing on the job?
A couple of tears prick in this man's eyes, and he says, in 6 weeks. In 6 fucking weeks. You're the only one that remembers my brother. I've been looking for you. Where the fuck have you been? You haven't been at the garage. You haven't been at the fountain. You haven't been at the square. You haven't been at your apartment. I cannot find you. Where the fuck have you been?
Dude, I've been at all those places. If I'm not there, I'm here.
You see this. You see the strain like wash over him as he corrals the effort to not flip this table.
Hey, why don't she'd pull out, kick out a chair, set the bottle and the shot glass in front of him.
So over the course of the next couple hours, you find out that this guy's been stumbling around Nocturne for the past 6 weeks, looking for someone who knows his fucking brother, and nobody remembers him. 6 weeks exactly to the day.
Okay.
And he can't even find people that knew his brother. Like people that he knew his brother, he can't find them anymore. They're not where they belong. They're just not there. People don't remember them. To put it very plainly and above table, the city is hiding his brother.
Okay.
Nocturne has swallowed this man.
Blimey.
God damn it.
So that takes us to the morning. Gregory, it's about 9 a.m. What are you doing, buddy?
Going to the farmer's market to find Phil and get something to eat.
Double blimey. All right. Phil is there. Phil is in what you would consider like not quite a summer dress, but a nice like spring like jumper almost. Got a little shawl, got a little bit of like not quite a bonnet, but like just a little bit of like a little drape. Got some nice
Serving
boots.
old lady brunch.
Yeah, basically, but also like scary old lady brunch. They're wandering through the farmer's market and they've got a little basket and they're putting small things into it. You know, a candle here, maybe some flowers. There's this particular teapot they lingered over for like 20 or 30 minutes before you moved in. I imagine you're the type that stalks your prey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to think about that for a second.
Take it away. How do you
I
approach
think that Phil is a fae and probably moves in certain patterns and is going to be here for a little bit. And Gregory is going to, like, part of Gregory's hyperfixation is he's going to watch Phil for just long enough to catch on to what that pattern is before intercepting at what would be probably an awkward point for Phil, and then go and then politely, sort of obtusely, make a request.
Ooh, so you're going to start your conversation with the Fae by making a request. Am I reading that right in all of the nuances there?
Yes. Gregory is a vampire, but Gregory does not feed on people who would be unwilling. I'll put it that way.
That's fair. But also, you're going to one of the Fae with a request.
Yes.
Favors don't come easy.
Now, before I fuck myself, Bill owes me one debt.
Okay.
So I'm willing to make the request if it means them settling the debts.
Okay.
So that's the plan there.
There are ways mechanically to leverage that. We'll see if those come up. So Phil spends 3 to 5 minutes at a given stall, and they cycle through everything, and then without fail, what they find is the dustiest, most forgotten and forlorn
Did
item.
we lose soul? Did I lose soul?
You
Am
also.
I? Okay.
You also.
A moment. If we are missing me for John, give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Farewell.
And then there was 3.
Oh.
Hey, John, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Fantastic. I had to cut Meshcast for whatever reason. Sometimes it bounces to a non-viable server. So, all good.
Tonight's gender.
Non-viable server.
Yep.
Those of you who've been in food service, we salute you.
Nice.
All right.
Some folks just belong in the back of house.
Shut the
Right.
fuck up, you
Damn.
bastard.
I have worked front of house and back of house. I'm allowed to make that joke.
I bet you have worked
Motherfucker.
the front and the back.
Motherfucker.
I mean,
I'm fish pit crazy.
I'm allowed to call. I'm allowed to perform the rusty trombone at work. Anyways.
No. This stream is no longer invalid.
All right.
I listen. I've been quiet for most of the night. I just needed to inflict psychic damage on the group at some point. I've gotten out of my system. We can go ahead.
Leave me alone. Akira.
All right.
Yeah, so-
Thank you with teddy bears that are crying milk or anything, but we're going to move on here.
Oh god.
Sure.
So as I was saying,
Yes.
Phil is wandering each stall for 3 to 5 minutes and finds the most dusty, forlorn, and forgotten thing in the stall. Like just something that's tucked off and ignored or misplaced. Not anything valuable or anything that's like actually like this isn't for sale, but just like, oh shit, I had forgotten that I had tucked that underneath there. Or that's not part of my stall. I don't even know where that comes from, but I'll sell it to you for $5. That type of stuff. Some of it, as you're watching closely, wasn't there until Phil showed up. So there's like a frame of reference that's being dragged onto and around these stalls. Something from one of the courts, maybe of the Fae, or maybe Nocturne is just churning up something dredged from the depths that was forgotten. It does that.
At this point, I'll approach Phil. Collecting all his armors, are we?
They'll glance over his shoulder. You of all people know I collect a lot of interesting things. What brings you here? They look up at the sun and she kind of smiles at you. At this hour.
Rough night. Need something to eat.
He kind of chuckles and rubs a little bit of scruff. Well, I understand a rough night. How can I
Do
help?
you know?
You know I do. How can I help?
Well, I figure we could get something to eat.
Little peckish? Temper running a little bit short? I know how it is.
You know how I am when I'm angry.
You're not yourself?
Thank you. We're not sponsored by Snickers, but we wish we were, because then we could actually pay bills on time.
The gayest Snickers ads.
Oh god.
So dumb. Anyways.
So you press Phil for food. Now remind me exactly what it is you eat.
Gregory is pretty straightforward in terms of being a vampire because they just straight up drink blood. However, the blood is a kind of medium that they use to subsist on emotions. And without feeding regularly, Gregory's emotional state becomes increasingly more volatile and temperamental. Hence the heavy metal and driving around angrily. He hasn't eaten in a few days.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is like Tibetan monk laying in a snowy like waterfall, and 5 is the members of Mindless Self-Indulgence on a 3-day coke bend. Like, where are you?
It's an obscure.
Cresting, or like if Gregory doesn't get something to eat soon, like by the end of today, it'll crest over into a 3.
Okay. So you're doing pretty good, but not great.
Yeah. Like it's starting to hit that kind of, this behavior is going to start getting me a lot of unwanted attention.
Why do you go to Phil for food? Why don't you hunt it yourself?
Gregory doesn't like hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, I think Phil would know this actually, because they've known each other for, almost a century at this point. Gregory likes the thrill of hunting. He doesn't like assaulting randos.
Okay. It's about the chase. It's not about the conquest.
Yeah. Like if Gregory's like let loose into the woods, like he'll fuck with some werewolves, not actually like attack them or fight them, just, hey, something's stalking you, it's getting closer kind of thing. And like purely out of the sake of just like, they can actually give me a good chase. He has no desire to like actually attack them or hurt them.
Well, I always feel like somebody is watching me, so that makes sense.
What is with all the music references with you tonight? Specifically like 70s and 80s music.
Bro, it's all the time. It is all the time. That's all I do.
Don't go chasing waterfalls, Red.
Oh.
Hey, stick to the lakes and the rivers you're used to. You were already at a dam that is just like totally off. Like, anyways.
That's fair. Yeah, we're close.
This
enough.
group has 1 brain cell.
Yeah, it's
Very
bouncing back and forth like a 5-way game of Pong.
And it's very stressed. That brain cell is very stressed.
At this point, it's just vibrating in place.
It's got superposition. We have to start like consulting Jay for like what the fuck it's doing. It's a fucking nightmare, man. All right. So,
Brain cell.
God.
Oh
no.
shit.
Illuminati are gonna out us. We're gonna
No, Natisha in chat. 25,000 points. There's a storm brewing.
Oh,
Oh, we have one of those, do we? Okay.
And you did it on me. Thank you.
There's just a storm brewing. It's a storm.
Shit's gonna go sideways pretty fast here, isn't it?
All right. I like it. We're gonna run with it. We're gonna go here. Cool. So I already had some ideas and some tags. This just pushes me over. Phil says, okay, look. You need something to eat. You're stressed. I can tell you're not in the mood for conversation. You always get this way. It's been like that for a while. I have something. It's something I've been put aside for you. It's something that I have been keeping kind of on the back burner. It ain't gonna come cheap though. This is not what you'd consider maybe your average everyday meal. I think this is something you'll enjoy though. I don't really feel comfortable talking about it here though. Can we maybe step somewhere else? Maybe my place?
All right.
All right. So they're going to try and seduce you. Not hardcore, but it's one of those like, if you want more than a bite, maybe a little bit of a snack first. Or if you need to eat first, maybe I can be dessert. Do you take him up on it?
I put the ass in appetizer.
Ooh.
Do not Do not Brazilian cake fart this. That's weird.
No, stop. Oh, God. What? How am I going to post this to YouTube?
The same way you post everything to YouTube.
You send it to
Without
me.
any
and
remorse?
you send it to me and I edit it. That's how you do it.
No, that's all staying in.
No, actually, I want you to send me this stuff so that I can like run through, because notes are way easier to make when I'm doing editing. It's one of my tricks. Like I'll do editing and also do my session notes.
That's smart.
Dominant. So yeah, they're going to try and seduce you a little bit. Like they're looking for an intimate connection, trying to get under your skin, trying to get something from you. They're trying to get more than just paying a debt back. They're also hungry in that weird way that the Fae are, which is very self-centered and cold. Also, feel free to yellow card or red card this, because I know this is treading on like weird shit.
No, I think that it's not yellow card or red card territory for me. I do think that Gregory is going to decline. I do think that they've had this relationship in the past, and they've done this sort of thing before a couple of times, but Gregory losing his blood bag and being hangry is like, no, it's not a good time.
Too vulnerable, too exposed.
Yeah.
Okay. But I do like treading on that. This is old territory. This is not something that's new or unexpected. I like that. So it does end up with having to go back to some neutral territory where they have this blood stored. And it's not a person, it's actually stored blood. Kept at like respectable, like feeding for you type conditions.
Yeah. I think that's interesting, because then emotionally speaking, Gregory, like when Gregory feeds, he kind of absorbs he kind of matches the emotional state of the person that he's feeding on. Because this is just stored blood, it's, for him, it becomes incredibly like calm. Like somebody's, but not like emotionally calm, it's more like somebody's turned down the music.
Distant.
Yeah.
So about that, this is one of those things that Phil's had set aside for a little bit, and it is a different emotional timber than you might normally feed at. As soon as you start drinking this, there is the distance. There's that like absence of immediacy. But on the other side of it, the weirdest way that I can explain this is it's like someone expected that from their side. It's got a sense of waiting to it. It has a sense of almost distant longing, of also being at a remove from their end, that they know that they're going to be fed on at some point. But it's something that lacks that immediacy, and they almost yearn for that sense of like connection and passion. You've been alive a very long time, and you've read a very, very large number of things. It has that sense of letters that were written during World War I or World War II between lovers that may never see each other again, separated by an ocean. There's time and distance and longing and melancholy in this blood. I imagine that brings your emotional state to a different ground.
No, yeah. Like I said, I think that because he's not feeding on a living person, it's it's like somebody's turned down the music. But that pushes him from anger to yearning. Okay. And like the onion of anger and sadness that is grief.
Okay.
And that kind of longing that you're talking about, I think that he's whose blood was this?
Are you asking me or are you asking Phil?
I'm asking Phil.
There's a tension and a resistance there. You can... They are evocative creatures. They wear their emotions pretty openly because they want your reaction to it. And you can tell that he's not exactly hiding something from you, but there is a fence drawn around telling you exactly that. Like, there's an expectation that you would ask that, and there's also an understanding within Phil that she can't really say. Even if she wishes she could, there's a part of her that prefers the mystery, honestly. This is where you're into a point where you can push, you can try and negotiate, you can conjure debts. But you've already said that feeding was the way that you were going to get that debt paid off.
I was going to let them pay that debt off, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're on neutral ground.
Neutral ground.
Mark character sheet.
You can push this one if you want to. I'm excited and open to it, but I would like to pivot just a little bit while you're doing that.
Yeah.
5 a.m. You stumble out of the woods, wet to the knees, sticks clinging to you. The smell of rot tight around you. And guess what the fuck are you doing?
Did I have any sort of meeting, or has like everything been said and done?
That was your meeting.
So I know what I need to know. I know how to get there.
You don't know how to get there. You know things about it. You know ideas. You know concepts. You know this is a gateway, a portal. It's a place of not being. It is a divorcing yourself from connections. The only way you could get there is if everything around you died. If everyone who knew you forgot you. Or if you became something so antithetical to who you are that reality itself rejected you. Or, God forbid, enough people thought the thoughts about you that are antithetical, that was the perception. And you'd shrivel into your own non-existence of inconsequence and be drawn into the mirror.
So I got options.
I mean, they're horrible options, but yes, you have them.
Oh, it's all
But you
fucking terrible, yeah.
But you also know that. So one of the key components here is the Brandon in the mirror. That's actually the Brandon you know. That's actually Brandon. Whatever is outside, whatever's happened outside of this, is some force or some persuasion that's caused these ideals, like platonic ideals of Brandon, to reject reality, or for reality to reject the platonic ideals of Brandon.
Is there a way to perforate that by thinking of Brandon differently or changing the perception of Brandon, thus sort of like regurgitating him back into the real world?
That's like meta-theistics, and I don't know that that's something you're really well versed in. I've given you what I can with what I've got right now. You don't know a solution for that, but you do know very important facts about what's going on in the mirror. It is a place of non-being. It is the opposite of here. It is the antithesis of self. And you know that Brandon was forced there. And whatever is there, whatever is inside the mirror, is trapped there, very importantly, and needs to stay there.
Yeah, and I could risk letting something out if I were to try to retrieve him. He's descending the ladder and like stepping back over to his car, which he just happened to leave the headlights on. He's just like, fuck it. Guess who the hell's out here? And he's gonna go sit down into his car and just like lean his head on the steering wheels. He's just like thinking about who he could possibly get in contact with. And the only person that's particularly coming to mind is Let's see. Probably Serena. And I only indirectly know her
Okay.
through Zach. I mean, she also helped me get rid of a Dybbuk.
As you do.
And I owe her a favor.
Do you want to go and double down on debts?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. And Angus is sort of coming to that conclusion himself.
Okay. So, do you call her?
Yeah, I guess I could just call her on the phone.
Okay.
You know, the wizard phone.
So you break out the cell phone. You're sitting in your car, headlights on, smoking a cigarette, blunt,
Oh.
doobie, cigar, in the
Cigarette.
pipe.
The rest of that's for later.
So pull out the phone, light the cigarette, crack the window, take your first drag, ash out the window, and as you do so, there's a metal on glass sound.
He doesn't move, but his eyes do.
Looking at a Glock 45. Perched right outside your window. Like a raven of ill omen, it's sitting there, hovering in the dark, shrouded in mist. Just a little bit of light being picked up from that cigarette butt.
Can I help you?
So what do you say to Mitri? Tav?
Tav is rubbing her forehead in frustration while she's listening to the story. Alright. When is the last time that you saw him? Can you at least remember that?
6 weeks ago.
Yes, I understand that. Can you give me more context? Where were you? Where was he? What was the situation?
He reaches out, puts his hands on your bottle of whiskey, kind of gives you a look of like, may I?
Yeah, she passed him the bottle and the shot glass already.
All right, yeah, he'll take a good 2 or 3 ounces just raw and be like, the motherfucker said the same thing my father did. I'm gonna go out and get some smokes. You need anything? It's the last I saw of him.
Okay, I'm just writing that down.
Mm-hmm. You're here as well, Tala, so feel free to chime in at any point.
I am actively pretending like I'm not part of the conversation, even though I'm listening very intently.
Okay.
I'm gonna, I'm listening. I got one ear on it. I'm just gonna keep making eyes at Danica, though, because, the thing is, Tala's not a heroic sword. It's not looking to be like, I heard you had problems, NPC. What is the fetch quest you're sending me on? I think she's like, I'm gonna stay in my lane until it's not my lane. But thank you.
So for some clarification on these two,
Sure.
are they human? Are they tainted?
They're mortal.
So they work with tainted. They would be.
They are, as a matter of fact, they are part of the immortal faction. Well, hold on. I have to double check the factions. Yeah, they're mortality. They are members of the Aware. They know what's going on. They tend to be in everyone's shit. Their informants would be the best way.
Gotcha. Okay, so Tab's got this look on her face like she's doing a big think. No, man. I need somebody smarter than me. Tala?
Tala is gonna slowly look over incredulously and be like, me. Smarter.
It's not very smart, is it?
No, I guess the bar is pretty low.
Oh no.
Oh, good lord.
It's not that smart. It's gender as weapon.
It's gender as weapon. God, clip
This
that.
is like
It's not very
this is
smart. It's
like-
gender as weapon. Is
I fucking love that.
turning to Tala for intrigue is like bringing a gun to the SAT. Like, this is not gonna go well. So Tala will slowly look over at Tab and just be like, and make faces. 'Cause I
You have
think-
a -1 in mind, too.
yeah, I sure do.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm
We,
endeavor on this investigation.
Blind leading the blind.
we put the smart ones on this one.
Yeah, the smart one is currently wandering through the swampy woods, communing with ghosts. So like,
I've met God, and it is a woman.
and it is
Okay, I'm down about that.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page.
yeah. So Tala will look over at Mitri and be like, "Who'd you piss off?"
Okay, that's the fucking thing, right? We didn't piss anyone off. We haven't had.
That hard to believe. You're twins with the same name. That's double bad omens.
So, how badly do you beat the brakes off this guy when he says some homophobic Russian shit?
Pretty badly.
All right, we're gonna fast forward to that point.
All right, so we're in the alleyway.
He's
I'm-
not getting away from that either for Tab, obviously.
Yeah, he's in the alleyway, and I am threading some wire through some teeth that have fallen out to make friendship bracelets for me and Tab.
All right. So he makes some comparisons about, hey, I might be a twin, but at least I'm not. And then he gets quietly dragged off to the alley and no one sees him again ever.
And so once that's done, Tala will lean down and go, "So aside from us, who did you piss off?"
So he sobs around blood and spit and he says, that's the thing. I didn't fucking do anything, and nor did my brother. We haven't had shit for a year. We haven't had shit for a year. We've been trying to find people. No one will talk to us. No one even recognizes us. No one will do anything with us. We haven't had shit. I haven't had a chance to piss anyone off.
And
I
you
guess
don't-
other than you.
You don't think that's because you pissed someone off before that?
When was the last time that Tab did a job with either of them?
Like, probably 9 months ago, 10 months ago, right when you got here, there was a little bit, but nothing since. You haven't even really seen these guys since. And they weren't fuck ups. They just, sometimes you just don't get jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, Tala's gonna look at Tav and be like, "Can I talk to you, like, over that way?" Just out of earshot, maybe.
Yeah, Tab has got an oil rag from the shop, and she's cleaning up the blood off of her hands.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're gonna move a little further down the alleyway and speak in hushed tones to be like, "So, the people who are disappearing, do you feel like, to me, maybe they're people who wouldn't be missed?"
Yeah, it seems that way. It's often that way.
And there's like a flash of some indescribable emotion, I think, goes over Tala's face for a moment, thinking about its brother, and then
Mhm.
returns to like the moment and is like, "All right, Demi's a lead, but I have no idea where that goes. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, this is definitely above our pay grade, no matter what.
Yeah. How do we keep an eye on Mitri?
At this point, Mitri is using his good hand to try and like drag himself further down the alley. He's not going very fast, so it's not like a concern.
Yeah, I think we just sort of like light a cigarette, puff, and be like, I meant like beyond tonight.
They're sharing a cigarette watching this guy throw.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Best friends gang.
Because, you know, like, dollars to donuts, he disappears next. Though why wait 6 weeks? Just take them both, goddamn.
You think something's happening to him? Do you think something's being done with him? Or just being, like, crazy?
That's the tricky part. Because, like, if no one remembers Demi, that's fucking weird. You think
Okay.
Danica knows anything?
Yeah, we could ask. I know you're always looking for an excuse to talk to her.
What gives you that impression? And, like, we'll hand off the cigarette and walk back inside. We talk to Danica.
All right, what do you ask Danica?
I'm gonna lean over Danica to over the bar and be like, Danica, hey Danica, when's your shift end?
That depends. If you need me to take care of something out back, well, I'm not off shift for a while. And there's a little bit of cold that creeps into the town. She's not going to help you get rid of a body.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's not what I'm asking.
She doesn't know that, though. She doesn't know that, though.
Yeah, she saw us
just-
take Mitri out. It's like, no, Danica. Mitri is alive and currently moving at a snail's pace. He'll be fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
At that point, Tab comes in holding Dimitri by the collar and just kind of sits him back down at the table they were
Shit,
at.
that's a kindness. Man's happy about that. He gets to live.
Yeah.
He doesn't get live. He doesn't get disappeared in a fucking alley like his goddamn brother. She says, on the other hand, you know, if it's something off the books, well, she kind of looks at the other bar back and is like, you can take care of this, right? The bar back is like 22, 23, is probably already like drank about a fifth of Jack. It's like, yeah, I got this. They obviously do not got this, but
Yeah. Tom's gonna grin and be like, join me in the alleyway. Maybe get a couple of 40s with our name on it, you know? And
so she grabs a couple of what's known as hurricanes. Hurricanes are a 10.0 malt beverage. They're in I think it's like a 40 or a 42.
40,
big
yeah.
bowl.
I love hurricanes.
Are they good? Like we
No,
sell them here.
Absolutely
good.
not good.
Fantastic.
They get
I'll
you
get one. I'll get one immediately. Now, like she grabs a couple hurricanes, probably like 4 of them, I guess, for the 3 of you,
Yeah,
And
that
this-
sounds good.
and rolls that back like, all right. Fuck, this is a lot of blood. Jesus, fuck it. I need to get a hose. But I'm off the clock, so fuck it. That's someone else's problem. What up?
Yeah, so you have the clock. So he's raving about his missing brother. First of all, question, did you know Mitri had a brother?
Isn't he an orphan? Isn't it just him?
Yeah. Did you ever see him hanging around with someone that was also Russian?
Is this a trick question?
Nah, like genuine curiosity.
Yeah?
Yeah, other Russian guy. Have you seen him around?
Which one? I mean, there's been like 4 or 5.
Oh, that's
Ru-
true. Am I
Russian.
being racist? God.
I mean, is Russian a race?
Isn't it? Says Smart Tella.
Just smart, so.
They both drink a little bit and consider the relevance of the Russian race.
And that's tonight's gender, the relevance of the Russian race.
Above table, we are not racists. We are just playing racists. God, I hate these characters sometimes. Jesus,
they're so good.
They're so bad.
They're such a relief. Oh my God. So it's like, any number of these other Russian guys, I have a vague interest in them at the moment. Not professional, just kind of like a curiosity.
Oh. I thought she drinks a little bit deeper. She seems hurt.
She's like, oh, not that kind of interest. No. No one punches like you, sugar. Like, and then it's like...
There's a low growl that rumbles some of the newspaper in the alley.
From Danica?
Yes.
All right, just checking, just making sure. Being like, but one of these Russian guys stopped showing up about 6 weeks ago. I know you got an eye for that detail. You can't fool me.
She takes another swig. I kind of feel bad saying this, but kind of not. I mean, all these Russian guys look the same to me. They all come in cheap.
Right?
She's not a lead on that.
It was like, it's all in good. Have you heard about any, like, all right, here's one for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's a move you never showed me?
I don't want to show you. Can I whisper it to you? 'Cause
Yeah, whisper it to me.
she kind of looks, because Tav's right there, right?
Tav is right there.
Yeah, she's come to listen to the information, but now that they're flirting, she's about to depart.
All right. As they're about to depart, and you're like, okay, this is getting weird and shit. Like, Danica leans in real close, and her lips are just brushing your ear, and she says, psych. And sucker punches the absolute shit out of you in the breadbasket.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hell yeah. I'm going to go down like a ton of bricks. I'm gonna land there. I'm gonna lay there groaning in the Russian's blood, with a shit-eating grin on my face.
All right, we're gonna zoom over to another scene here. Gregory, so you're chugging off this mage blood. What are you doing?
Oh, it's mage blood, is it?
Oh, it is mage blood. Nobody's got that sort of discipline and detachment from the world around them, other than a mage or a fucking monk.
I think knowing that it's mage's blood probably dampers some of my curiosity on who specifically this belongs to.
Okay.
Like, Gregory's had mage blood before. Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Like, if not purely out of the, what's the worst that could happen? You know?
Chang'e.
Variety is the spice of life, or something. I don't know.
Fair.
Brandon was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's saying this to film. Got stabbed last night. They had a funny knife.
He lays a knife down on the ground, says, kind of like that one.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like that one.
You wouldn't happen to have a mirror with you as well?
No, I don't like those.
Figures.
They tell too many lies. Even for me.
Well, gotta make life bearable somehow. What is this? Really?
They drop into a crouch. Heels full down. Just natural as can be. They say, well, here's what happened. And they launch into a tale. It's a really good story. What it boils down to is this. A man was lost in the woods. Something dark came for him, and he promised that if it let him go, he would feed it forever. He would bring man after man, woman after woman, his parents, his siblings, his children, if it would just let him go. And that thing agreed. The problem is that thing lived longer than he did. And his children and his brothers, they also had to bring tribute. And now, long, long years down the line, well, some of us have to do things we don't like. We have to bring tribute. Or it eats us. Phil looks genuinely sad about this. And she says, it's nothing personal. It just wants what it wants. And what it wants is a connection to this city. That's why it's taken so long to get to you. Because you haven't cared until recently. And you can take that knife, or I can take that knife. And you can leave, you can stay. But now that it knows who you are and what you are and where you are, now that you've drank that blood, it will come for you. And honestly, she kind of sits down from the crouch, says, honestly, I don't know the city's worth all that. I don't know if the city's worth you. It's interesting, you know, we, the Fae, we spend centuries chasing something new, something novel, something exciting. We miss out on so much. We think about the moments, the vistas, the feelings that we have. You know, we never really think about where they come from. We think about flowers that bloom and then fade away, or seasons that pass, or shooting stars, or dreams. Yeah, we tell stories about dreams all the time, about what they inspire, what they mean, but we never really, God, not a one of us really thinks about where they come from, do we?
Does it matter?
It does. I think it does. Because we can't dream. We are dreams. We live off of what other people dream, what other people are inspired to feel and think. And we spend so much time chasing those emotions and those feelings. I think we'd be happier if we spent more time on what causes those emotions, those feelings. Regret, guilt. That's new. It's novel. I think I like it. I think I could get to like betrayal. After all these years. It's the one emotion I haven't sampled too much. Do you feel betrayed?
I lean down and pick up the knife.
It burns.
What do you think?
It burns like fire to hold it.
Does it like literally like set fire in my hand?
Smoke starts to rise. What are you planning to do with that?
I look at it for a moment with it smoking in my hand. Look back to Phil. What do you think?
Above table? Where do you want to go with this, Dylan? This is about to be like some deep shit. Tell me if I'm crossing a line. Tell me where we're going. And also, other people at the table, like if this gets too much, yellow card me, please.
No, I think it's really interesting.
Okay? We're about to get some betrayal and shit going on.
I dig it, yeah. No, I'm like,
Okay.
I'm good for it. Like, unless, so for reference as well, moving forward, unless this knife burning in my hand literally becomes impossible for me to keep holding it, I'm not gonna let go of it. Like, it's gonna hurt, but Gregory's dealt with worse.
I kind of had arrived there. So
Yeah.
Phil betrayed you entirely.
Yeah.
You now have a sympathetic link to something way bigger. Something that could consume you entirely. All for 100 years of trust and back and forth. All for utter betrayal because it's savory and interesting and new. The creature in front of you doesn't have congruence with human emotions in the way that we think that they do. So don't try and map that to them. But I want to know what Gregory feels. You once were a living man, I guess.
Gregory remembers the fires that happened a long time ago in Nocturne. And the echo of panic, the reflection of that night burned into his head.
Mm.
And I think Gregory's going to feed on Phil.
How far?
I think he's going to try to make plain the pain of betrayal. Normally when Gregory feeds, it's a very like... Gregory doesn't try to get too into it. You know, it's like, you know, excessive table manners, as it were.
Right.
He doesn't care.
We're on some Hannibal Lecter shit normally.
Yeah. But right now, I don't think he cares.
Okay. So this gets brutal, non-consensual, and gross.
Yeah.
Do they survive it?
We have to roll to find out.
Let's roll to find out.
I have a class move called Eternal Hunger.
Mm-hmm.
And based on I have the effects of it here.
All right.
On a 10 plus, choose 3. On a 10 plus, choose 3 of the following options. On a 7 to 9, choose 2. I heal 1 harm, which I don't think is applicable because I don't think I've taken a harm. I learn a secret about them, or I take +1 forward. Or finally, they don't die. I'm not going to choose the don't die option. I'm going to learn a secret about them. I'm going to take the +1 to go forward.
So you kill Phil.
Yeah.
Wow. You get a perverse sensation as you extinguish this person's life that this was kind of it for them. They wanted this in a weird, absolutely perverse way, that they'd sampled every pleasure imaginable, every depth of every lowness, every betrayal that they could. And this is it. This is they're out. They're done. They hit it and they're good. So there's sort of perverse thankfulness in them as they expire, but it still fills you with something. I can't tell you what you feel, but I can't imagine what I would feel in a moment like that. And that's maybe a depth that Gregory hasn't fallen to in a while. You reave everything out of this individual, this Fey being, this immortal, this concept given flesh. And at the end of it, you're almost left holding ashes. It's not fulfilling. It's not satisfying. It's bitter. Almost hollow. That at the end of immortality, it was just betrayal for kicks. And what does that even mean for us? But also in those ashes, that bitterness that you taste, the fires that ravage Nocturne, there's an urgency, an unsettled kind of mind about the city wasn't burned accidentally, it was burned deliberately. There was something dark, something stalking these alleyways, something worse than we imagine. Nocturne isn't a shelter. Nocturne isn't a place to hide. It's goddamn spider web. Something dark lurks in the center of it, and it lures us here. And as the last bits of Phil's life flee, they pour out, that trust and betrayal seeps into you. For the one time, maybe the only time, that you've been betrayed this deeply. There's one other emotion that comes in. It's a fear. It's Phil's fear. And it attaches to you maybe closer than you might like. Phil's been an info broker, someone that is in the center of a lot of different webs. And they've drawn people to Nocturne. They've opened gateways for the Fae to this realm. And they've fed things to this city. They've fed people to this city for centuries. And for the last 150 years, they've wondered, who's Gregory fed to the city? With all their championing, vigilantism, what lives have they ground underneath their boot? Poured the lifeblood into the gutters, quietly dropped into the lake above the Heartsmith Dam. Who is Gregory fed to this city? And am I any better? And that's the last emotion you get from Phil as they die in your arms. That quiet wonder, quiet curiosity of, am I better than Gregory? Or is Gregory better than me?
I think quietly aloud to himself, or maybe to the city, he's not sure. Gregory would say, just another leech.
All right.
Welcome back. Thank you for your patience. We're going to toss it back over to Morgan, as per usual.
All right. So, wrapping up a little bit, Phil has been exposed as a betrayer and drained to the last drop. Mitri has been exposed as a homophobic bigot asshole and has been beaten to the last drop. But talking about drops, Angus, you're wringing the last of the lake water out of your jeans, I guess. Do you wear jeans? You probably wear jeans, don't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Jorts.
Like really tight around the thighs
no
and
jorts.
like elephant, like just sort of like wide at the bottom.
Are you wearing
Bell
Jinkos?
bottoms?
You're wearing Jinkos.
Yeah, more Jenko than bell bottom.
I mean, it's either that or a hakama made of jeans, which I've done.
More power to you.
Not mine. I did it for a friend. All right. So you're crawling your way out of the Heartsmith Lake. Fresh, unholy knowledge in mind. But you've also got a very unsettled vibe. Like you're sensitive to the world around you, and you understand that shit is shifting very quickly in the world. What do you do?
There's a gun pointed at me, correct?
Yeah, there is.
Is there any way I'm able to channel subtly?
You've got one hanging. You always do. Now. For a while.
Without moving,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teleport.
Where?
Behind the person with the gun, with my own gun. Always has been.
Yep. Ohio, right?
Columbus.
Nothing personal, though. Kid.
I was waiting for that one.
It was rigged from the start. Yeah, no, I pull out this little like 32 snub, just something I can easily hide in a jacket, and like as the teleportation is happening, as I'm moving from one place to the other in that in between space,
Mm-hmm.
procuring my pistol, pointing it to the back of the person's head that was pointing the pistol at me.
All right. In that in-between space, it is filled with limbs that are clutching at you, trying to drag you down into a mirror surface. It's about 30 degrees canted. It's not flat. It's like something you're being pulled towards.
As
rather than
he's-
down into.
As he's like reaching to grab the gun, his other hand, for whatever reason, he feels compelled to just reach down and like brush fingers with the hands reaching towards him.
What are you trying to do with that? Like narratively, I want to ask that big question. Like, what does this mean to you? What does this mean?
It
Are
means
you trying to like build camaraderie or like find a sense of like, hey, just wait? What does this mean?
I'm honoring the spirits of the dead by giving them a genuine, empathetic caress and thanking them for good passage.
Roll with power.
Okay, power. It's just what would you call this roll? Is it just a power roll?
There's a term for this one. Hang on.
It's baby, you touched the dead fingers you boned.
Investigate a place of power.
Oh, that's fair. It's more elegant.
9.
We boning though. 9. All right.
Boning
that's a
so
hit.
hard I'm permanently stuck on your iPod.
All right. On a hit, you see the reality underneath. These aren't just restless spirits. These are spirits that are being drawn down further. As you reach out, you feel searing pain in your shoulders and the top of your back. Those of you who have a little bit more familiarity with drowning, it's the same pain you'd feel as someone with cleats or ice spikes trying to claw their way and climb their way up to air. They're not dragging you down out of malice. You're being dragged down because they're dying.
Perhaps
They're
I'm
being extinguished.
expressing. If I understand that before reaching out, I think it's more of like a gesture.
Okay.
A gesture of empathetic sorrow. Like
I know, and I'm willing.
Yeah, like I know how this pain feels, and I will share it with you for just a moment.
Okay.
It's very Celtic.
Yeah, I get it.
If it causes me pain, then so be it.
Yeah, you burst forth into existence behind this man, and immediately, lichen and hoarfrost bursts around you. And as he stumbles back from the now empty car, you can hear the tearing sound as his feet rip forth from this frost. You've got your 32 to him. Is it to a rib or to a head?
Head.
All right.
I play for keeps.
He's pulling around. What do you do? Immediate.
With the intent to just... I'm gonna... If this is a wizard...
Do you pull the trigger? That's the question. Do you pull the trigger? Or do you say something?
I already said something and they didn't respond, so I'm just pulling the trigger now.
Bam. All right. Go aggro. Roll it.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Unleash an attack. Roll with blood.
Blood. Events. Negatory. Blood. Not very good. Yeah. I specifically built Angus to not have any sort of magical offense either, so... It's a miss.
Whew. All right. This is going to go badly for you.
Oh, I'd imagine.
You teleport almost as if they were expecting it. A hand sweeps up from behind, scoops your gun aside. It roars off into the night. There's the sound of a melon. And you feel coldness in your guts. Take 3 harm.
Ooh.
As a ruined blade goes into your vitals.
We're in Grievous territory.
Yep. It's
General
not good.
Kenobi.
Yep. Hello.
Hello there. Can I get a better look at this person now that they're intimate with me?
Yeah, absolutely. They're maybe 6 feet, well built, rugged. The one thing that you do recognize very immediately is the runes that are on that dagger that just shanked the absolute balls out of you. That's Paladin's blade. And the gun that was tapped against your window, now that you're not seeing it dead on, also ruined.
Do I have time to channel?
Don't ask me that. Tell me that.
I do have time to channel.
All right. So yeah, we have to unlearn a lot of bullshit with this. Yeah. I channel. Okay, cool. Tell me how that goes.
Let's see.
Ooh, a 5 is not great.
On a miss, hold 1, but I cannot channel again this scene, so this is my only channel.
Mhm.
Interesting. So the fact that even though I missed, I actually don't take a negative. I just fail and I get 1 channel.
Yep. You
I'm
got
trying to
1.
think what to do now.
I will give you. You're pretty close to dying, right?
Yeah, 2 more. I'm gone. But I also have +1 armor when I'm holding a channel. So
You weren't holding to begin with,
I was not.
And-
when I teleported, I used that. So
and this blade will ignore that.
okay.
Would you like to teleport to someone close to you emotionally, but not necessarily physically? I know your teleport's generally only within range of your senses. You can, in this case, I will let you yeet out to someone that you know.
In exchange for
No exchange.
okay.
You are close to death. You can push yourself a little bit further. We can be a little bit lax with it. Let's get you into the arms of an angel.
I think Angus is going to sort of reach into the blindness of the Between Realms,
Mhm.
sort of just allow his subconscious to decide. Logically, he is there, he is fully conscious, although it's kind of flickering, but now his subconscious is sort of stepping up and going from subroutine to main directives. He's just going to teleport. He does not know where. He is allowing his subconscious to make that decision for him.
All right. I know exactly where you end up.
Right on.
You've been shanked deep. You're bleeding out. You're gasping, and you are wrecked. You're a physical fucking wreck. Just absolutely on the precipice physically. Emotionally, you're pretty all right. So why don't we put you with someone that's in the opposite spectrum? Gregory, as Phil breathes her last, as those heartbeats and those thoughts ebb off into the ether, there's an echo, a back channel. And Angus manifests, doubled up in a corner of this room, bleeding out. And that hammer of adrenaline, that beat of panic, that cling to life, you feel that echo through you. And you've hunted prey and you've gotten into their skull and you know what that feels like. This is different. This burns from within you. It was Angus's blood you fed on.
Called it.
As such, the way Angus manifests is like, you completely finish the cup, or is there even a drop?
Nothing left.
Nothing left. Okay, then Angus's magic is very grotesque and weird. It's very like not easily understood. I'd like to imagine that you throw up a little bit, and like the bile and humors and blood that comes up sort of like coalesce into the floorboards, and the floorboards themselves just sort of like open up, and there hatches an Angus.
Yeah, I dig it.
All right.
I mean,
Monster House style.
I'm covered mouth to everything else in Phil's blood,
Mouth to south,
Everything
as
out.
it were.
Mouth south.
which, by the way, I forgot to make a point of this, but I marked in my character sheet already. I do take a point of corruption for feeding on Phil, as they were an unwilling victim. So that puts me at 2.
We'll get you there. We'll get you there. All right. I
Shit
think
gets
this
crazy
is
for vamps with corruption.
It does. Some of their corruption moves are some of the most powerful ones. They're scary as fuck. I think this is a great place to end it for the night. We've been going for a little bit, about on our normal run. I know a lot of us are East Coast and we got to wake up early. I've really enjoyed this though. So I would like to take a step back just to confirm where we're at. Angus and Gregory, you are in a scene right now. Gregory just killed Phil, murdered Phil for betraying them. Angus, you have just extricated yourself from a terrible situation where a mage's paladin was trying to kill you, and you had found out some dark secrets about Nocturne. Tav and Tala, you are rocking it out at Lev's, and with Danica, you found out that another individual, a Russian, Dmitri or Demi, has disappeared into the ether with no trace left behind. The weird shit is going on there. And we will pick up from here, I think, on the next one.
Hell yeah.
So, those of you that have Seed of Corruption, I believe that's Gregory and Tav. I don't think Tala has it.
I didn't get it.
I'm pregnant.
Oh, I was the one who got it, not Tala.
I believe
Yeah.
so. Did you take any corruption this round?
Yes.
Increase it by 1.
So I got an additional corruption.
If you did not take corruption, then do not add to your corruption.
Oh wait, I think I did get a Seed of Evil. One sec.
Did you take corruption this game?
No.
Then you're fine for now.
Have we both got it, right? Or was it just me?
I will
think
say as the GM, you both have it now.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah. No, I have Fruit of Evil written on my sheet, so
One of you does.
probably it. Yeah. Alright, so I'll take corruption.
Nope, not unless you already took corruption. If you took corruption, you get an
okay.
extra 1. If you didn't, you're fine. For now.
Nice.
For now.
Oh, I only got Grievous Harm. I should heal that at some point.
Good luck. Godspeed.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So that is us for the night. If we want to do outros, we can do them. Red, however you want to run this last bit. I will want maybe 5 or 10 minutes after we get off stream to do a quick debrief if everyone's cool with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we did brief intros at the beginning, so I don't think we need to echo around with that.